all. It's Thursday the 8th of March and the weather outside's pretty brutal today. Just heavy rain, so I've come indoors and as I've been watching some of my fellow YouTubers who seem to be heavily into this vermiculite stuff, I have mixed a tub of it with some normal multi-purpose compost, and I'm going to be sowing some seeds this morning. So what I'm going to start off, just going to start sowing things that I really like to eat, and then I think later on in the season, once I've hopefully had some successes, I'll move on to maybe some unusual stuff just for the hell of it. So I'm going to start off with some aubergines. I love making homemade Thai curries, so I like adding aubergines to that. Got some butternut squash. I do make a mean butternut squash risotto, so hopefully those will come in useful. Cauliflowers, just an old staple favourite, but obviously on a Sunday dinner a nice cauliflower cheese is an old favourite. And then just thought I'd start off growing a herb which I don't have in my garden currently. I do have a lot of herbs that were left from the lady that lived here before, so I've got a lot of sage, a lot of mint, a lot of rosemary, but no parsley or coriander, so I'm going to start off with this parsley. So what we're going to do now is get some asparagus sown in a seed tray. They're going to be sowed next to some broccoli. I'm not sure whether there are any of these that shouldn't be sown directly with each other, but I don't think there's any hard and fast rules there when they're such young plants. And I can't be bothered to check, to be honest. Then I'm going to sow some cabbage, some shallots, and the cauliflower.
Morning all! Today's the 9th of March and back down on the garden today. The weather's really lovely this morning, so I'm going to get as much done as I can today. And as I mentioned on my earlier videos that I picked up some new tools the other day, and the one that I'm going to be trialling today is the £10 sledgehammer, which I got from Screwfix on clearance for £10.99, which I thought was a bit of a bargain. And I always think of £10 in weight as really not that heavy, but I guess that the fact that the weight is all at the hammer end makes it a real serious lump of kit. So I've had a few trial swings. I didn't want to do a YouTube bleeper special and have an accident on camera. So I think I've mastered it, but I'm going to be knocking in the posts now behind me, so take a look. So here's the beast. Watch this bad boy in action. The hours I have spent with my poxy little mallet tapping these in to no avail, and just watch how this cuts through it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I'm taking it steady with that sledgehammer. It's deceivingly hard work, but I'm getting most of the post down so much easier than I did with the mallet. Really wish I bought this from day one of the challenge. It could have been really useful for a number of things, but hey ho, you live and learn. Everybody should have a sledgehammer. I've got several tools at the ready now for this next phase of attaching the posts of the poplar beds to the poplar itself. Kind of wishing I'd tried this earlier on and created a dummy bed, because now I've got all these beds in place and I've got no idea whether the poplar is going to hold very well. Possible schoolgirl error. So what I'm going to do for this lower piece of wood here, I'm going to drill a little bit of a hole there with my drill just to sort of help the first screw in, and then I've got these very long galvanised screws that I will push through. So let's see how I get on. through wood. I think I need a stronger electric screwdriver. I've certainly had one of those difficult days today. The screwing in of the posts has proved an absolute disaster. I just cannot, with the tools that I've got, get the screws through into the wood and sort of pushed fully in, and there are loads of those to do, so I'm going to have to look at getting some better equipment, or maybe even some stronger help. I don't know whether it's just my arms aren't particularly strong in pushing the screws in, putting my weight behind it. So that's a disaster. I've got a full weekend to work on it, with the exception of Sunday afternoon being Mother's Day. So let's see if I can make a bit of better progress in a couple of days. Morning all, Saturday the 10th of March, and just come down the garden to have a good go at it today. We had really heavy rain last night, and so it's going to be interesting to see how the plot has coped with excessive rain and where everything's drained to. So let's take a look. So on first sight, everything looks tickety-boo. I mean, there's a little bit of surface water, but nothing too bad. It must have gone somewhere though, so let's have a look. Uh-oh, I can see some water. Hold on. Oh my god. Loads of it. Gosh, okay. Well, I guess it's drained in a place where I'd rather it be, rather than it being up there. So I've gone through all the final pieces of wood down at the bottom of the garden to find suitable pieces to go on these final 4 beds. These final 4 beds are predominantly going to be for my little 4-year-old daughter to have a little play with growing things, and that's why they're at just one level of wood height, so it's going to be really easy for her to lean over and sort of get stuck in. So yeah, I've got numerous pieces behind me now, and it's just a case of getting the old chainsaw out again behind me and chopping them all up and putting them into place. This is what I'm dealing with. Every time I step to then pick up the chainsaw, I just sink into it, and then when I try and step out, it really pulls my welly off. I'm getting seriously hacked off with the conditions down here. It is that boggy underfoot, I could scream. Morning everyone. It's Monday the 12th of March, and today it's pouring down with rain. Has been at it all night. I don't know if you can see behind me, it's still coming down there. It's ironic really that the previous guy who lived in this house for 50 odd years, he had that whole area kind of stuffed with random items. Rocks, sinks, baths, you name it. And when I cleared it out, I remember thinking to myself, why has he put all this stuff here? And normally there is a reason why gardeners do things, you know, they're normally trying to either cover something up or just help a particular area not be as bad as it is. And so I'm wondering that all of the rocks and debris and everything that he shoved down that bottom end, its reason for being there was because it's prone to flooding. And that was helping it, so I've now undone all of his hard work, but it just was too much of a mess. I mean, I'm not a perfectionist, but my god, it was scruffy. So talking of scruffy, I'm going to go make myself look presentable to go and pick up my daughter from school. Hi everyone, back down the garden today. Very pleasant Tuesday here, Tuesday the 13th of March. The rain has stopped from yesterday, still loads of waterlogging that's yet to clear. I'm trying not to get too bogged down in it, literally. I don't suppose you remember me saying that I was going to clear out an old former greenhouse and turn it into a seating area. It's one of those jobs that I just wish I hadn't started. It might have to roll into challenge number 2 next year. But because the weather's sort of too wet everywhere else, I've had another bash at it today. And you're probably looking at it thinking, it doesn't look any different than it did before. Well, that's about 2 hours hard labour digging away in there. There's lots of root systems that are sort of all meshed together, making it really difficult to actually clear it out. But I've got about an hour before I pick my daughter up from school, so I'll keep going. So I've brought down my half moon cutter because I'm finding this is really helping to really break into any really established roots and cut through them. I'm lucky in the sense that we've had so much rain, things are as soft as they can be, but some of these root systems are really, really thick. So it's taking me quite some time. And one thing I will say about this garden challenge is I have got so much more physically stronger since starting it. God forbid anybody attack me on a dark lane, because I'd have them for a breakfast. Rah! Now some of you might be looking at the soil and thinking some of it looks quite juicy and full of nutrients and worms. You're quite right, it is. So behind me, where the blue tarpaulin is my big stash of soil, which eventually will become a compost area once I've sorted out everything that I want to do with it. It could take a while. Oops. I think that's enough for today.